Scott, more Welsh people here, died aged 20. West Kent residents died aged 34.
Engineer William Bradford, more Welsh people here, died 1943.
Naval seaman Eric Speakman, Royal Navy, died aged 21.
Lance Sergeant Chris
Bombardier George Stead, and Native Red Steel Veteran Will Antilles, died aged 25. Politicians from all sides, perhaps be leery on behalf of the fallen between 1939 and 1945. I can do that now. Churchill said democracy is the worst system devised by man, except for the others. The party system provides the government in power with an official opposition which, when working properly, restrains it from excessive measures and stimulates it to action. Fascism, by contrast, is a one-party system that exceeds all forms of human wickedness. First, in its deception, and then in its cruelty. As Hitler himself said in Mein Kampf, the broad mass of a nation will more easily fall victim to a big lie than to a small one. And as Churchill said, there can never be a friendship between the British democracy and the Nazi power. That power which cheered its onward course by a barbarous paganism, which forms the spirit of aggression and conquest, which derived strength and perverted pleasure from persecution, and uses, as we have seen, with pitiless brutality, the threat of murderous force. 70 years since he said this, we too have to fight hate with hope. 21st century fascists may have exchanged their swastikas for a smart suit and a big smile, but their culture of blame is chillingly recognisable. As the great philosopher Edmund Burke said, all that is necessary for the triumph of evil is that good men do nothing. And as Albert Einstein himself said, the world is dangerous to live in, not because of those who do evil, but because of those who look on and let them do so. Churchill surely instinctively understood this. Nobody did more than he to demonize the word appeasement, the way of describing the belief that conflict would be avoided by compromises with, and concessions with malign and evil regimes. As he stated, an appeaser is one who feeds a crocodile hoping that it will eat him last. We must remember that prior to coming to power in Germany, the Nazis campaigned the mainstream political party, reaching out in democratic elections to ordinary men and women, and only burning the Reichstag and abolishing opposition parties when they came to elected power. They understood that it is easier to unite people against rather than for something. So they turned against the minorities within, against Jews, against Slavs, against Gypsies, even against the disabled, into scapegoats for all of society's ills. The rest, as they say, is history. The past informs the future. If we don't learn from the past, we are doomed to repeat its mistakes. As Churchill said, what Hitler has done is to kindle a fire in British hearts here and all over the world, which will glow long after all traces of the conflagrations have been destroyed. He has lighted a fire which will burn with a steady and consuming flame until the last vestiges of Nazi tyranny have been burnt out of Europe, and until the old world and the new can join hands to rebuild the temple of man's freedom and man's honour upon foundations which will not soon or easily be overthrown. Well, long may those fires burn in our hearts, and long may those foundations stand, because the tactics employed by the Nazis then are all too familiar today and will remain so tomorrow. Complacency, apathy and appeasement will not keep those fires burning or those foundations standing. We must stand united in hope, not hate, against the fascist extremists in smart suits, standing for election in our communities today. As good men and women, we must not look on and let them do evil, and we must not allow evil to triumph. Today's Hope Not Hate event is supported by all mainstream political parties in the National Assembly for Wales. Our chair is the presiding officer of the National Assembly for Wales, Darron, and each of the four main parties has a vice president. Sorry, David is the president, and each of the four main political parties has a vice president. As we speak, there are parallel events being held in Cardiff and Swansea, and which all parties will be represented, and I presume all vice presidents will be attending. Because Wales is a proud nation of proud people who have fought throughout the centuries to secure the freedoms that we enjoy today. The path we walk as a nation in this century was laid by those who believed in hope and made the ultimate sacrifice against hate and the spread of fascism, tyranny and oppression in all its forms. When society has problems, when the economy is in difficult times, when unemployment is rising, when services are threatened, housing lists are long, fascism thrives. It gives them the opportunity, as happened 70 and 80 years ago, to blame everyone else for complex problems and to offer simplistic solutions that can only be delivered in the short term through terror, oppression and murder. We must ensure that the people in Wales who are beginning, unfortunately, to fight that hook before they're hauled in by fascist leaders receive the message that what we stand against is what their forefathers stood against 70 and 80 years ago. Today we have an opportunity to commemorate the memories of our fallen and the fallen of those who died to save the rights and privileges of those who now stand for fascist parties as well, and declare with one voice that the struggle of those who fell for hope, not hate, is one that we as a nation and the people will continue to honour. Thank you.
I'm standing for the Labour Party, the Welsh Labour Party, in the European elections this coming June. That's what I want to talk to you about today, the European elections and the dreadful opportunity it is offering for the BNP to put up candidates in every single region of the United Kingdom, including here in Wales, and what we have to do to make sure that they don't get a foothold. Mark's given an absolutely fantastic speech, and all those quotes just really bring it home to us. I mean, it would take us to sit at home on June the 4th to sit back and let the BNP